Adyghe, also known as West Circassian, is one of the two official languages of the Republic of Adygea in the Russian Federation, the other being Russian. It is spoken by various tribes of the Adyghe people: Abzekh, Adamey, Bzhedug, Hatuqwai, Temirgoy, Mamkhegh, Natekuay, Shapsug, Zhaney, Yegerikuay, each with its own dialect. The language is referred to by its speakers as Adygebze or Adygebză, and alternatively spelled in English as Adygean, Adygeyan or Adygei. The literary language is based on the Temirgoy dialect. There are apparently around 128,000 speakers of Adyghe in Russia, almost all of them native speakers. In total, some 300,000 speak it worldwide. The largest Adyghe-speaking community is in Turkey, spoken by the post-Russian Circassian war diaspora. In addition to that, the Adyghe language is spoken by the Cherkasy in Krasnodar Krai. Adyghe belongs to the family of Northwest Caucasian languages. Kabardyan is a very close relative, treated by some as a dialect of Adyghe or of an overarching Circassian language. Uzbek, Abkhaz, and Abazh are somewhat more distantly related to Adyghe. The language was standardized after the October Revolution in 1917. Since 1936, the Cyrillic script has been used to write Adyghe. Before that, an Arabic-based alphabet was used together with the Latin. Dialects: the Black Sea Coast dialects, Shapsug dialect, North Shapsugs, Great Shapsugs, Cuban Shapsugs dialect, Kfar Kama dialect, Temirgoy Shapsugs, Unesco accent, South Shapsugs, Small Shapsugs, Coastal Shapsugs, Black Sea Shapsugs dialect, Hatuqwai dialect, Natekuay dialect, Zhaney dialect. The Cuban River dialects, Bzhedug dialect, spoken by the Circassians in Republic of Adygea and bigger district of Çanakkale City in Turkey. Temirgoy, literary Adyghe, also spoken by the Circassians in Republic of Adygea. Abzekh dialect, spoken by the Circassians in Rihariya in Israel and the Circassians in Syria from Golan Heights. Mamkhegh dialect, Yegerikuay dialect, Hatuqwai dialect, Mamkhegh dialect. Phonology: Adyghe exhibits a large number of consonants, between 50 and 60 consonants in the various Adyghe dialects. All dialects possess a contrast between plain and labialized glottal stops. A very unusual minimal contrast, and possibly unique to the Abzekh dialect of Adyghe, is a three-way contrast between plain, labialized and palatalized glottal stops. The Black Sea dialect of Adyghe contains a very uncommon sound, a bidental fricative, which corresponds to the voiceless velar fricative found in other varieties of Adyghe. Consonants that exist only in borrowed words. In the Black Sea Coast Adyghe dialects there exists a palatalized voiced velar stop, a palatalized voiceless velar stop and a palatalized velar ejective that were merged with and in most Adyghe dialects. In contrast to its large consonant inventory, Adyghe has only 3 phonemic vowels in a classic vertical vowel system. Grammar: Adyghe, like all Northwest Caucasian languages, has a basic agent-object-verb typology, and is characterized by an ergative construction of the sentence. Orthography: Adyghe dialect letters labialized consonants I. In some dialects, writing system rules the letter is not written after a or a labialized consonant. For example, house instead of yet, instead of well, instead of strawberry, instead of. In case the letter is the first letter of a word or when is not related to any other consonant, it is pronounced as. For example, house instead of Russian, instead of deep, instead of. When it's related to a consonant it becomes a vowel and pronounced as tilde. For example, cat instead of bird, instead of world, instead of. In case a labialized consonant is followed by a vowel instead of the letter there is a For example, road instead of fire, instead of you, instead of, in case a labialized consonant is followed by a vowel or the labialized consonant letter is written fully. For example, choose, princes, yours, in case the letter is the first letter of a word or when is not related to any other consonant, it is pronounced as. For example, you, instead of song, instead of heavy, instead of war, instead of old woman, instead of, in case the letter is the first letter of a word or when is not related to any other consonant, it is pronounced as. For example, he says instead of he sees, instead of apple, instead of rich, instead of knife, instead of. When it's related to a consonant it becomes a vowel and pronounced is tilde. For example, fool, instead of read, instead of today, instead of, in case the letter is the first letter of a word or when is not related to any other consonant, it is pronounced as. For example, yet instead of his house, instead of erti, instead of bad, instead of. When it's related to a consonant it becomes a vowel and pronounced is tilde. For example, I have instead of your house, instead of hard, instead of dot. Vowels. The vowels are written and. Other letters represent diphthongs, represents or represent or and represents or. Writing systems. Modern Adyghe uses a Cyrillic alphabet with the addition of the letter. Previously Arabic and Latin alphabets had been used. Adyghe outside Circassia. Adyghe is taught outside Circassia in a Jordanian school for the Jordanian Adyghes, Prince Hamza ibn al-Hussein Secondary School in Amman. This school, which was established by the Adyghe Jordanians with support from the late King Hussein of Jordan, is one of the first schools for the Adyghe communities outside Circassia. It has around 750 Jordanian Adyghe students, and one of its major goals is to preserve Adyghe among new Adyghe generations, while also emphasizing the traditions of the Adyghes. Adyghe is spoken by Circassians in Iraq and by Circassians in Israel, where it is taught in schools in the villages. It is also spoken by many Circassians in Syria, although the majority of Syrian Circassians speak Kabadian. UNESCO 2009 Map of Endangered Languages. According to the UNESCO 2009 map entitled UNESCO Map of the World's Languages in Danger, the status of the Adyghe language in 2009, along with all its dialects, and is classified as vulnerable. Sample text. Translation. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The same was in the beginning with God. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made that was made. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. And the light shineth in darkness, and the darkness comprehended it not.